What's going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with your college football breakdown for week 12 on Saturday, November 15th, 2025. Now, we're going to be taking a look at 5 college football games from Saturday's action. So, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to our channel, smash that thumbs up. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games that I absolutely love, make sure that you head to Pickdawgz.com, click the experts tab at the top of the page. Got a lot of action, a loaded card for me on Saturday. A lot of college football, a lot of college hoops, a lot of hockey. So make sure that you jump on board. Remember to use the promo code PICK at checkout, get 15% off your purchase. For me, the 3-day, the 7-day, and the 30-day passes are all less than buying each of Saturday's daily packages individually, and you see all the value that it gets you. You don't have to buy, you just log in, get your picks, go out, place the bets, and make money and rake it in. So make sure that you check that out. And again, use that promo code PICK. Get 15% off your purchase. We also have our Inner Circle VIP services. These aren't for everyone. They are for people that make big bets and for those with big bankrolls, those who are looking for more of a one-on-one concierge-style service to take their betting to the next level. Now, you can call or text the number on the screen, but just remember, this is our most expensive premium product, so just keep that in mind before reaching out to the number. But if this is for you, it's an awesome product and one that I can assure you guys you're going to absolutely love. But like I said, we're here to talk about a 5-game card for Saturday's college football action. I know it's a big card, but at this time of year when teams are, starting to wind down, there's some matchups where teams have nothing but pride to play for. There are some rivalry games. There's also some teams that are playing for spots in conference championships and for bowl eligibility. So we're going to be narrowing some of these spots down that I like. I'm going to let you guys know my thoughts on some of these games, and we're going to try to win some money. So let's not waste any more time. You guys know the drill. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. Our first game comes to us at 12 p.m. Eastern. It is Indiana taking on Washington. And, this is a massive line for Indiana, a week removed from that narrow call that they had against Penn State, with potentially one of the greatest catches I have seen for a touchdown in a high-stakes game like that from Indiana. That game was insane. And, I was on the wrong side of it. I did have Indiana. I thought they were just going to blow out Penn State. But, give Penn State credit for hanging in there. But I think that game, Indiana got their clunker out of the way, their close call. I think that Curt Cignetti was probably not happy with how that game finished, and I think this is a spot where he wants to kind of get his team back on track, getting back home, drill an opponent, and at a certain point, I do wonder when Indiana is going to start worrying about health, if they're going to be in the Big Ten title game, and if they know they're going to the college football playoff, they want to make sure that everybody gets in there as healthy as possible. The problem for this game is that I don't know if Wisconsin can hang around enough in this game. We have seen Wisconsin, they're coming off of the win over Washington last time out, but that was the first time in conference play where they had scored more than 13 points in a game. This is still a Wisconsin team that in conference play, in Big Ten action across 6 games, have averaged less than 10 points per game. They've scored 40 points in 6 games. So we're talking about less than 7 points a game. Numbers like that aren't going to cut it. You're going to get lucky once in a while. Luckily for Wisconsin, Washington has not been able to travel well since joining the Big Ten. But I think this is a spot where Indiana unfortunately smashes them. I think it's wrong place, wrong time for Wisconsin here. So give me Indiana laying the big number. Now we're staying in the 12 p.m. Eastern slot for this game between UConn and Air Force. And I think this is going to be a bit of a tricky matchup here. I think it's going to be a high scoring matchup. I think it's going to be a track meet. I like the over 65.5 in this one. Air Force, their offense has been electric for much of the season. We have seen a couple of lower scoring games in their recent outings, but the problem for UConn in this matchup, they have a hard enough time stopping normal conventional ground attacks as it is, as UConn's defense is 108th against the rush this season, 85th in yards per carry allowed, and we know how potent this Air Force offense can be with the option. But you also have Liam Zarka, who can pass the ball through the air, now has given Air Force a little bit more of a passing aspect to their game. And even then, UConn's pass defense, not great. Sort of middle of the pack in the FBS, 65th in passing yards allowed per game. So I do think Air Force is going to be able to find some quick strikes in this game, but I also think UConn's going to be able to score as well. Air Force's defense, 130th in total defense in the FBS, dead last in yards per play allowed. They're 131st in yards per carry allowed, while UConn is just outside the top 25 in that metric. Like I said, I think it's going to be a track meet. I think it's going to be back and forth. I'm going to go with the over 65.5 between UConn and Air Force. Now we'll go to 1 p.m. Eastern for this game between Tulsa and Oregon State. And not only is this an early kickoff for Oregon State, basically a 10 a.m. Body clock time for Oregon State, but you're taking Oregon State out on the road where they're 0-3 this season, both straight up and against the spread. Now, granted, two of those games were against Oregon and Texas Tech, but they also lost to App State in a near pick'em, kind of like they are here. And Tulsa, Tulsa's lost 5 games in a row, but they do have a power conference win over Oklahoma State. Granted, that's not saying much, but is it really saying much against against Oregon State either? I mean, this is an Oregon State team that just lost outright to Sam Houston as 21-point home favorites. A game that I look back on it and I'm like, how in the world was this Oregon State team laying 21 points against anyone? Even if Sam Houston was playing some really bad football coming into that game, it was 17-0 early for Oregon State, and then it started to make sense a little bit, but then they gave up the 3 touchdowns. And keep in mind, Oregon State lost this game giving up just 157 yards of total offense. That is horrendous. So I can't back Oregon State in any way, shape, or form here. I know Tulsa lost their starting quarterback here, but there's few opportunities for Tulsa the rest of the way to pick up some confidence boosting wins and just some feel good victories down the stretch. This is also one of the final home games for Tulsa this season. They do face UAB to close out the regular season, but I think that Tulsa can get the win in this one. So I'm going to take Tulsa plus the points and on the money line, even if it's a fade of Oregon State more than anything else. Now we're going to the 4 p.m. Eastern slot for this matchup between East Carolina and Memphis. And I got to give East Carolina props. I mean, this East Carolina team has been playing really well over their last few games. They've won 3 straight. They clinched bowl eligibility, and they've scored, 41, 45, and 48 points against Tulsa, Temple, and Charlotte. Now, sure, you could call in the level of competition, but the thing is that Memphis, they're coming in off of a loss to Tulane, which might have been the final nail in their coffin for their college football playoff hopes that they were going to try to get the group of 5 bid. Granted, it's still lost to Tulane, but I really think that loss to UAB hurt them, and they had to kind of win out to still have a case to be made with games against some of the better teams in the American. But also, the quarterback for Memphis, Brandon Lewis, he's still banged up, and I don't know if he's 100% healthy here, and he's got to be on his A game to go toe to toe with this Memphis offense. With this East Carolina offense, if East Carolina is going to be held in check. I think the problem for Memphis has been that the defense at times has been susceptible this season, especially through the air, and this is the 3rd best passing offense in FBS for East Carolina. I think Memphis could be in some trouble here. I'm going to lay the 3 with East Carolina. You can take them on the money line if you don't want to have to worry about the points coming into play here, but I'm going to take East Carolina to get the job done in this game. Our final game on Saturday's card takes us to the 7 p.m. time slot where Missouri takes on Mississippi State. And, for me, I don't love the quarterback situation for Missouri right now. Bo Prabula out for the season, so they've had to turn to Matt Zollers. And Zollers wasn't great in his debut. 7 of 22, I should say his starting debut. 7 of 22 for 77 yards. It was against Texas A&M, which is no easy feat considering how well Texas A&M has played this season. But it's just hard for me to get there with Missouri in this spot, considering the quarterback play, especially laying points. Mississippi State, they're 5-5 on the year. Now, whether they go with Blake Shapen at quarterback or Camario Taylor is still to be determined. But for me, Mississippi State has way more to play for here. Missouri's 6-3. They've already clinched bowl eligibility, but we've seen the offense start to fall off a little bit as they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. They scored 17 against A&M, 10 against Vanderbilt. They lost the heartbreaker against Alabama. And now you've got Mississippi State coming to town, who's dropped 5 of their last 6 after a strong start to the year. But Mississippi State, for a program that was in disarray last season, getting bowl eligibility would be massive for this team. And I think that this is a spot where Mississippi State comes out firing. Obviously, you'd never want to lose your rivalry game, but I would feel a lot better for Mississippi State trying to clinch bowl eligibility against Missouri, who's having their issues, as opposed to trying to do it on the last day of the season in a rivalry game against an Ole Miss team that is still trying to stake their claim to a college football playoff spot and potentially a first-round bye. So I think you get a concerted effort here from Miss State. I think that the Bulldogs are live in this game. I'm going to take Mississippi State here, plus the 7 points. Might sprinkle a little bit on Mississippi State money line in this one as well. That's it. That's your college football breakdown for Saturday, November 15th, 2025, week 12. If you haven't already, again, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Smash that thumbs up. Let me know your college football picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily college football big play, my college basketball big play, or my NHL power play, or any of the plays I have on board, or with a long-term pass as well, make sure you check out pickdawgz.com. Click the experts tab at the top of the page, and remember to use the promo code PICK at checkout and get 15% off your purchase. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys.